Coming up, kindness, huge news for crops and food supplies, and we are closer to having eureka moments on tap. Welcome to Total Nileation, your existential halftime, the podcast that brings you all the better stories you should be getting but are not. I am Niall Seguin, aka Optimist Prime. Welcome to the treehouse. Pull up a cushion. I haven't said that in a couple of episodes, I realize. How are you? Have a, really just get grounded. Take a deep breath and then have a long exhale. How you been? How are you? I'm doing all right. I hope you're well. I don't have any extra interesting announcements because this is a bundled episode. Yeah. So listen, guys, we're just going to get to it. Here for you now, our top 9 good news stories from our home office in Finger, Manitoba. Number 9, for the first time in 25 years, puffins have returned to the Isle of Muck, proving that seabird restoration works. The puffin's comeback is a direct result of the successful eradication of invasive brown rats, which were notorious predators. Cameras captured 2 puffins, with a little sidebar, which I feel is slightly inappropriate. Cameras captured 2 puffins repeatedly bringing food back to a nesting burrow, an extremely hopeful sign that they were successfully rearing a chick. Conservationists are optimistic that the island will become a thriving stronghold for puffins, which are a red-listed priority species. This success mirrors effective restoration efforts elsewhere and is underscoring the truth that small interventions can unlock big changes for vulnerable species. So I included this story because I think it's important to just really focus on stories where it's really hard to bring home emotionally, right? Because again, there was a time where it's like, oh, puffins are on their way out. There's nothing we can do. It's over. And that was probably a story that someone was freaking out about, that someone was like despairing about. And here we are. Here we are. They're making a comeback. No one's talking about it. But I'm just saying, bear this in mind the next time you hear we're all doomed story. Also, just to be clear, I refused to Google brown rat for this story because how big are those rats? They have to be at least puffin size, which I think puffins are not a small bird. They're not a huge bird, but they should be bigger than rats, but apparently they are not. So yeah, I feel like that's a story we're not focusing on enough. Number 8. Brazil formally created 10 newly recognized indigenous territories, marking a significant move for climate justice and land rights. These new territories will now receive legal protection for their ecosystems and cultures. The designation represents the first expansion of indigenous lands since President Lula da Silva took office, signaling a positive shift from previous government policies, which is not a huge shock because apparently the last guy was a bit of a dip. Evidence shows that indigenous stewardship is the strongest safeguard against deforestation and is key to protecting biodiversity. Also, we are the last ones to realize that's true. Research suggests that expanding these territories could prevent up to 20% of additional deforestation and cut carbon emissions by 26% by 2030. Protecting these territories is one of the most powerful available climate strategies as healthy forests draw carbon from the atmosphere, which is very handy. Yeah, I love all of this. I also think this is going to be a sneaky, I think it's really going to be a huge positive for the world, but it's not something that we are going to track, or I don't even know if we can track it, which is upsetting, but chapeau to our indigenous friends who are trying desperately to stop us from punching ourselves in our own faces. Number 7, an Australian company is on the verge of launching ProMarker Endo, which is set to become the world's first blood test to diagnose endometriosis. I'm so proud I was able to say it. The test has the potential to dramatically reduce the diagnostic delay, which currently averages up to 7 years, to a process that could take minutes. 7 years feels too long. It offers a simple, non-invasive alternative to the current gold standard laparoscopy. I mispronounced that, but I refuse to take it again, which is an expensive, invasive surgical procedure. In peer-reviewed trials, 99.7% accuracy in distinguishing severe endometriosis cases and 85%, even in the difficult to detect early stages. God damn. The breakthrough heralds a new era of timely diagnosis and treatment for a condition that affects 1 in 10 women globally, potentially improving countless lives. This is great. Obviously, this is a huge step forward. Jesus, going from 7 years to a few minutes is bonkers. That is like chapeau to them. But also, I like this story because it signals the shift of us taking women's issues more seriously. Yes, like, because come on. I feel like if this was a dude thing, we all know. Do I have to finish the sentence? If this was something that primarily affected dudes, it would be done. It'd be on its way out. But this is nice. This is nice. The point is, we are shifting. We're getting our heads out of our asses. Um, and maybe for the sake of my girlfriend, there will be a cure for menopause. Because, yeah, we don't need to go. If you know, if you know, you know. Number 6, Gwen Watkins of California, America, launched a mobile hygiene nonprofit in her 70s that has delivered over 25,000 showers and counting to underserved populations. The program's goal is to meet people where they're at and provide dignity, respect, and a private hot shower, along with new supplies like socks, underwears, and toiletries. The organization is entirely volunteer run, which I fucking love. What began as a mobile shower effort has grown into a robust wraparound community care hub. The hub offers essential additional services, including free monthly health clinics and distributing no-cook food bags. The organization's legacy continues to thrive, built on a vision of compassion and consistency that reminds guests of their inherent worth. That is the shit. Also, I think I was talking to a friend about this week. I think volunteering numbers are going to go up, just because I think people are going to like the need or the desire to participate in something that isn't gross is going to go up. Like right now, so much stuff feels gross. You'll watch stuff, people are just advertising to you. You're scrolling, people's trying to sell you shit, and then you know that the algorithms, it's all gross. And it feels like going out and doing something for someone else just on general principle is going to give you way more satisfaction than anything else. Also, fun fact, I initially misread that story, and I thought it started in the 70s and not in her 70s. So I thought initially it started off as like a sleazy way to get hot, unhoused people in a shower. But it's not that. I got a lot of stuff to work on, but I am not a bad person, I promise. Number 5. Okay, time for a sneaky huge one. Researchers have uncovered the neural signature of insight, explaining how the brain produces sudden realizations. The study successfully linked the psychological theory of insight, or representational change, to a specific neural mechanism in the brain. The research identified that moments of insight show increased activity in a network of brain areas. The ventral occipitotemporal cortex. I don't know why I thought I could read that. Which is visual patterns, the amygdala, which is positive emotions, and the hippocampus, which is memory/mismatch detector. So this understanding of the AHA network has potential applications in education, could lead to better learning outcomes, and be highly motivating for students. The research provides a framework for future studies to investigate insights in more complex and real-world contexts, such as creativity, psychotherapy, and meditation. Okay, I know. I know I always get ahead of our skis on the good news, but in my defense, this is the one time where I can get ahead of my skis because I find like the good news happens the progress, the positive progress happens way faster than we expect. Usually way faster than I expect. But I really like the idea that and I know the science isn't there yet. This is just a nice discovery, but it's a step forward. I just love the idea that maybe we'll get to a point where we can just have realizations on tap, where that just speeds up in our brains. I think it's going to be so great just to sort of like, I don't want to say speed run life, but I mean speed run the bad parts of your life, right? Like, no fuck boy is ever going to get laid ever again. Uh, after if this technology gets to where I want it to get, where people just immediately make the realizations that they would have made like 10, 15 years down the road. Guys, this could be the end of misogyny. Like, this could be it. Just like a fucking wow, geez, what am I angry about? My mom. Yeah, let's move on. Howard. Number 4. Cancer patients who received an mRNA COVID vaccine within 100 days of starting immunotherapy were twice as likely to be alive 3 years after treatment. A study found that commercially available mRNA COVID vaccines can effectively train patients' immune systems to eliminate cancer. The survival improvements were most pronounced in patients with immunologically cold tumors, which typically resist immunotherapy, suggesting a way to make treatment-resistant disease responsive. The potential is that widely available low-cost vaccines could dramatically improve the effectiveness of existing immune therapies for a much broader patient population. The promising results have prompted the design of a multi-center randomized phase 3 trial to determine if mRNA COVID vaccines should become part of the standard of care for this type of cancer therapy. Again, anti-vaxxers, where are you at? Where are you at? Where's the conspiracy? I mean, you said we were all going to die. Now even fewer people are dying. Man, you were loud wrong. All right. Um, but again, let's take a moment to appreciate this, not just because of the progress against cancer, which is fantastic. But again, I think the idea, and again, getting ahead of my skis, maybe you're like a medical person, you're like, no, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But I feel like this is like a first domino. If you can train your immune system to fight cancer, can you not eventually train the immune system to fight other illnesses? I don't know. Feels like a thing. Feels like a thing to the guy with no medical degree. I could be wrong, but I'd be willing to bet that I'm right. Number 3, Kernza is the first commercially available perennial grain crop, meaning it grows back yearly and does not require annual planting or replanting. Yeah, that is what I just said. So this drastically reduces labor and soil disturbance. It is a dual-use crop that yields both grain and forage in the same year. I had to look that up if you don't know. If you're not a farmer, forage is like I think feeding animals stuff. So not ideal. We should probably reduce our meat consumption. That's fine. This provides farmers with 2 products and 2 sources of income from a single planting. Kernza is a climate-friendly crop with a deep root system that can fix a lot of carbon in the soil, a lot of issues with carbon in the soil. Um, there's a cultivation process that emits fewer greenhouse gases. It promotes biodiversity, prevents soil erosion, which I've already mentioned, and requires less annual tilling of herbicides and pesticides. Forage analysis shows high protein levels and energy, making it suitable for beef and dairy cattle feed. The crop has successfully resisted the Nordic winter in all testing sites. The long-term goal is for Kernza to be a major crop grown in large areas, um, sparking a third major agricultural revolution focused on sustainability and diversity. This is amazing. It grows back no matter what you do. It's like they took anxiety and managed to turn it into food. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This is amazing because again, it's one of those things where it's like everybody's working on the solution. So you just got multiple solutions happening at the same time. Now, I've already mentioned my favorite nerd, Hannah Ritchie, out of Oxford, pointed out she did some number crunching and she said that, if we divided all of the calories that we produce daily as a planet, everyone would have enough for 5,000 calories. But even with that, I feel like this is really going to be helpful for obvious reasons, but also I think for food security. Number two, South Sudan has successfully interrupted the transmission of guinea worm disease, reporting 0 human cases in 15 consecutive months. I'm going to say this right now. Do not Google this. I Googled this. It is fucking horrifying. It is horrifying. So, chapeau, South Sudan, dear God. Um, this is a sign of success, of the success of the water filtration for safe drinking, water education, and education outreach and community outreach programs. Pardon me, confirming that the low-tech community-based strategy works. It's a huge achievement, by the way, because they've gone from 20,000 cases in 2006 to 0. The success is a powerful motivator for the few remaining endemic nations. The worldwide guinea worm eradication campaign has reduced the disease's incident by over 99.99% since the 1980s. 3.5 million cases annually to only a handful worldwide now. Um, Eradicating this disease would make it only the second human disease in history to be eliminated after smallpox, and it would be the first to be eradicated without a medicine or vaccine, which is fucking amazing. I love that. But who names these diseases? Guinea worm? You can't. Oh, dear God. But then I suppose you can't call it what it obviously should be called, which is Jesus Christ, what happened to your foot? Which is what my reaction was when I saw the picture. Why does Google always give you illustrations? Why does it always give you images, no matter non-consensual images? Number one, for the first time, the world's wind and solar farms generated more electricity than coal plants for the first half of the year. The growth in solar and wind outpaced the world's rising electricity demand. I said the growth of solar and wind outpaced the world's rising electricity demand. Global solar power grew by almost a third more, 31%, in the first half of the year, meeting 83% of global increase in electricity demand. The International Energy Agency forecasts that global renewables could more than double by the end of the decade, which they fucking will. This is the same agency that said we weren't going to get 100 gigs of solar until 2025, and we got it in 2012. So they're a bit cautious. China added more renewable energy generation than the rest of the world combined. Surprise, surprise. India's rapid renewable growth led to significant drops in its coal and gas use for the period. Solar power is set to surge not only in established markets, but also in new economies, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and several Southeast Asian countries. So there you have it. That is really cool. That's a nice closer. Yeah, I know. You know what? I'm just going to call it. I'm going to call it. I think I already have, but I think this is the official confirmation, right? It's over. It's over for oil and gas. It's over. It's going to become kitsch. It's going to be the new vinyl. Guys, you know what it's time for? It's time for 20 seconds of good news. Last time, I was a little verbose in how I wrote out the headlines. I think maybe I'll be able to do better time. So the record right now is at 4. Here we go. Here we go. I got it. We're going for 5. I'm going to aim for 6 even. The number of children working in child labor has dropped by 50% in the past 20 years. Thailand banned corporal punishment of children. The age-adjusted prevalence of dementia in the U.S. has dropped 67%. The global under 5 mortality rate has dropped 50% since 1990. Researchers discovered a new class of antibiotics that can beat drug-resistant bacteria. Finland is almost coal-free, 4 years ahead of time schedule. Cock. Okay, that one was good though, right? That was. Well, that's not bad. How many was that? Hold on. We're going to the count. Did I get 6? Did I get 6? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did it. I got the 6. Oh, what a great way to close the episode. Oh, there we have it, guys. I did it. 6. That is it, guys. That's the episode. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed my little victory. Please remember to rate and review if you have not. I am at Nas again on all socials. Please go to my Buy Me a Coffee page. There's a free tier if you are not flush. If you are flush, I would very much appreciate throw me a little cash if this helped you in any way, shape, or form. It is buymeacoffee.com/total Nileation. That is where I will put the good news stories and the little extra tidbits and every little good story thing that I can think of. And it'll show up in your inbox. You'll get a notification if you're into that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm on the Beaverton. Feel free to tune into that unless I've been fired by the time this episode airs. I also have the best D&D podcast that you've never heard of, Comedians in Dungeons and Getting Dragons. Please give that a listen. If you have any questions or comments, totalannihilation@gmail.com. And that is it, guys. If you cannot be a shining example, be a terrifying warning. Let's get it on 3, everybody. 1, 2, 3.